cold as a razor blade.
For another episode of the Snake Pit, but this week we are going to do something a little bit different. Of course, the wrestling world was rocked last week when it came to the loss of one of the biggest stars in the history of the industry, the immortal Hulk Hogan. And and me being a kid of the 80s, when I was little, that was right in the peak of Hulk Hogan's stardom. So it was weird. It's a weird feeling to know that Hulk Hogan is no longer with us. And as somebody who works in the professional wrestling industry, not only as a podcaster, but now I'm also a professional wrestler, it's really evident what kind of impact Hulk Hogan had on professional wrestling. Now, when the conversation comes to Terry Bollea, the conversation can get a little bit muddy as far as how the way that it divides people based on some of the things that he did and said that were completely inappropriate. However, when it comes to Hulk Hogan, there is no ambiguity. Hulk Hogan had a massive impact on the professional wrestling industry, and that's something that I want to have a look at today. On an early episode of the Snake Pit, we talked about Hulk Hogan at length. I think it was actually the second episode of the show. Jake and I discussed Hulk Hogan, his rise to stardom, and then the angle that never was between Jake and Hogan. So we're going to run that one back today. I guess we can call it a rewind of the Snake Pit. I know that a lot of listeners maybe came in the middle of this and they never had an opportunity to go all the way back into the archives all those episodes ago to listen to that one. So this might be a new one for some of you. I hope that you guys enjoy it. I hope that you have a fun time looking back at what Hulk Hogan did in the WWF during Jake's early days and beyond. And I hope that you'll tune in next week for a new episode of The Snake Pit. It's something that fans are still talking about all these years later. I see it all the time online. People are like, when are we ever going to see the lost Snake Pit footage? And if you don't know what we're talking about, let's just jump into it. But before we get there, let's talk about your opponent there in the Snake Pit a little bit. We're going to talk about Hulk Hogan.
So the Golden Goose.
The Golden Goose.
That's what he was, man. He was the Golden Goose of the WWF. Without Hogan, it probably wouldn't have happened near as good as it did. It would have still happened, but it wouldn't have been what it is or what it was, because Hogan was the perfect guy at the perfect time. Vince did what he had to do by getting all the top talent from every territory in the world and feeding them all to Hulk one at a time. And you had your one time around with Hulk, and that was it. You had been beaten severely in every match.
Right.
But that's how you do it. That's how you build it.
Well, and it was the formula back then, and it was a formula that kind of got popularized on Rocky, which is ironic because we're going to be talking about Rocky here. Terry started out, he was bouncing around a lot during the early part of his career.
Don't we all?
Absolutely, man, especially in the territory days. He found himself in Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Memphis, and finally he landed in Vince Sr.'s WWF before he lost that job when he appeared in Rocky 3 against Vince's wishes. It was such a huge turning point for his career, Jake.
Would that
have been the first time that he was on your radar, or had you been around him previously?
I had seen a little bit of film on him, and I'd heard a little bit about him. That was it.
Now, what were your impressions of him when you were seeing him from afar or in the movie?
Oh my God, he was a monster. He had the perfect thing, man. With all the suntan stuff, man. Hogan once told me, if you have a choice to go to the gym or a sunbed, which one do you do? I said, well, the gym. He said, no, you go to the sunbed, because a fat guy can look good with dark skin.
I think I've heard Arn say that. He said, that looks good tan.
Yeah.
Well,
it's true.
So after losing his job with Vince Sr. and Rock, well, first of all, did you see Rocky 3?
Oh, didn't we all?
Everybody saw Rocky 3. I mean, he's just larger than life. But Vince Sr. is willing to let him go over the dispute. So he lands in Minneapolis with Vern Gagne and the AWA. And a lot of people say it was kind of the true start of Hulkamania. Did you see any of that stuff?
Absolutely. I've seen some of it, and that's when he got on everybody's radar when he went up there. And it was game on.
Yes.
On. Because between that and Japan, he was ringing all the bells, man. I mean, let's look at the guy. He's 6'7", 6'8", 300 pounds, and got guns like that. not like that. But anyway, he had certifiable guns, and he was the perfect guy. And Vince dressed him up in that bright yellow, and that just bounced off the suntan, man. Made him look even darker.
Man,
There
he
you
was
go.
yeah, there. Look at that. Look at that tan. It's like a hot
Yeah.
dog.
And
He
Vince Jr. there, he basically got him on a silver platter, handed him out to the crowd. He fed the crowd all Hulk Hogan. Of
irreplaceable
course, you
look.
didn't see him. You didn't see him unless you went to a pay per view or a super huge, big house show. He didn't do TV. You ever notice that?
Yeah, or
Seldom did you ever see him on television.
be like a promo
Why?
or something.
Right. The reason being, you have to pay to see him.
It makes perfect sense, and it's Vince Jr. obviously always loved the larger guys, and of course he brings Hogan back from the AWA.
Yeah.
Before we get there, though, did you ever do any work with Vern or the AWA?
I didn't, man, and I always wanted to. In fact, I had a match in Toronto with the guy that was their champion for so long,
Bockwinkel.
Bockwinkel. I wrestled Bockwinkel, and Bockwinkel was just over the top happy with what I'd done in the ring with him. He says, "You've got to come to Minneapolis." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll leave now," you know. But I never got the call.
Man, it's one of those wrestling what could have beens because of all the different talent up there. But not to mention, Jake, you're one of the few guys that has kind of been everywhere. You were in WWE,
Yeah,
TNA,
yeah,
now
yeah,
AEW,
yeah.
WCW. So it would have been cool to add that one to the resume.
It would have been, man, but it was their loss.
And no question about it, and that certainly proved itself out when you made it to the WWF. Now, do you think that Hogan could have still been a big star without Vince Jr. in the WWF?
Oh yeah, yeah.
He was well on his way up there, but he didn't have that
Yeah.
marketing machine.
Someone that size that looks that good, he can punch his own ticket anywhere. How are you going to put that guy on first match, second match, third match, fourth match? You can't. He's too damn big, too impressive. So anywhere he went, he was going to be main event, no doubt about it. And that's just the way it is, man. I mean, you'd have to come up with something supersized.
Well,
Maybe somebody like oh God, superstar Billy Graham did it before him.
right.
The same thing, the tan and the huge guns and the muscles and all that. It was the way the world was changing. It hadn't gotten ready for the Road Warriors yet, but they're coming. But at that time, that's what was happening. It was all the, well, for lack of a better term, juice monkeys. And that's the guys that use the sauce, the secret sauce, to gain size.
Well, so
Big was in.
we're jumping ahead a little bit, but I do want to cover this with you. And I don't think it was in the notes when you came to the WWF and you see all these massive guys,
Oh God, yeah.
clearly on steroids. Did it ever occur to you like, maybe I need to try it? Maybe I
Of
need to
course
get on the
it did.
gas.
Of course it did, and I did. I went on for a short period of time, especially after my neck surgery, because I wanted to heal quicker. But in the WWF at the time, we were working so hard, 7 days a week, twice on Saturday, twice on Sunday. You needed a little bit of steroids to help with the healing process.
Mm.
Now, some guys took that and went completely off the charts with it, but that was their choice, and so many of those guys are gone now. And I'm sure that had something to do with it, whether it was Randy or the Road Warriors or Mr. Perfect, right on down the line, man. You see these guys before and after that stuff, and it just blows your mind. You can't believe it's the same person.
Right.
Precious Paul Ellering was huge at one time. He had it all, but he had a bad knee injury, and that was the end of him.
Well, the other issue with it, and we saw this with the Warrior, was he was big and blown up, and then once the steroid scandal happened, he comes back and he's noticeably, visibly smaller. And the same thing happened to
Yeah,
Hogan in
yeah.
WCW, where it was like, man, what a huge difference in his physique. So it's very clear that they were on something once that
Oh yeah,
benchmark hits. We're back to '84, and Hogan's brought back in by Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and he's on a run that would honestly just not just change his life, but really the business as a whole.
absolutely.
So I mean, you didn't get there until '86, but
Right.
when it came to that win against the Iron Sheik, do you feel that represented a change in wrestling from just the
No,
standard wrestling to entertainment?
absolutely. Iron Sheik he was an entertainment guy, even though he is, because he's so goddamn funny to watch. But you know, USA versus the rest of the world, man. That's what it was all about. USA, USA. And then you know the Iron Sheik had beaten. Um, God Almighty, sorry, my mind just went.
No, was it Bob Backlund?
Bob Backlund, yeah, who was a tremendous wrestler. Now he was the guy you would have in there if it was about wrestling.
Right.
But Vince Jr. had already made his mind up. It wasn't about wrestling anymore. It was about entertainment with a little wrestling sprinkled in. And off we went, brother. I was there for WrestleMania 2, of course. And it was just a different world, man, completely.
Yeah, it started to really become part of not, wrestling was its own little category, and all of a sudden it's starting to cross over with pop culture, with the rock and
Yeah.
wrestling connection on MTV, and the insane marketing machine that they had up there. So it makes me wonder, Jake, as you're seeing all this happening,
Mm.
from afar, are you like, geez, I gotta get up there, I gotta get into that territory?
I seen it happening, but I was still dug into my belief about wrestling. And I did not want to go up there, but I was forced to. Um, Terry Taylor was a general manager at the time of Mid South, and I asked him how I fit in the plans because at the time I was being booked against Dick Slater, and I was being booked on like fourth match, and yet we would go on last and tear the damned house down. They had he had some other people they wanted to put in front of me. It was Hacksaw Jim Duggan. It was also DiBiase, Dr. Death. All those guys were put in front of me. So I asked him where I fit. He told me, you're the number 6 baby face. Can you believe that shit?
So
And
with the hottest finish in the business, the
yeah,
number 6 babyface.
with the hottest angle going, I just dropped Dark Journey,
That's right.
which was the most amazing pop I've ever gotten for anything.
Incredible.
It was just, oh my God, it was phenomenal. I love watching that tape. We got to show that sometime. And you
We'll
get
watch
to
it
watch
back.
the people eject out of their seats, man, when it happens.
If you've never seen it, it is an incredible pop, and we're not going to spoil it because I do want to do a bonus watch along or something with that, because that is fun.
That's what I miss about wrestling today. You don't get those anymore. Very seldom do you get those huge pops anymore. And there's a reason for that. It's the way the guys are wrestling. They're not building their stuff. They're just doing as much great stuff as they can, back to back to back to back to back to back to back.
Right.
They go out and use 17 finishes and then lose the match on a schoolboy. Are you fucking kidding me? That pisses me off more than anything. Why in the hell are you getting beat by a schoolboy? You would rather get beaten by some slip on a banana peel bullshit finish than get beat by the other guy's finish.
Yep.
Why? If I'm going to get beat, I want to get beat by the nastiest, gnarliest damn finish and maneuver ever done. Not the damn schoolboy, because that just makes you look stupid.
And to your point, if you're sitting there watching a match and it's all high spot, and everything's great, if everything's great, then nothing is great.
No.
You've got to have the build to. So I'm with you, man.
The people never get a chance to reset their pop meter. They just keep getting it, ba-boom, 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 one after another. And pretty soon you're just sitting there chewing your gum going, what the fuck?
Yeah, right.
You know? And there's still a few guys that go out and wrestle. But, man, don't do too much of it or you'll find yourself on first match.
Which is such a shame, man. It's not
Yeah, it
about
is.
it's about telling a story. That's why we're all there. We love storytelling.
Absolutely, and that's how we get connected to people emotionally, not just from the side of all these crazy ass maneuvers they're doing.
I couldn't agree more. You mentioned WrestleMania before.
Yeah.
What were you thinking when you saw the first WrestleMania?
Oh my God. When I seen the first one, I was too busy to think anything. I'd heard about it, and I'm like, man, what in the hell is going to happen next? Because that's just it was mind-boggling what they were doing. The pay-per-view and all that bullshit is just crazy because it's never been done before. Not in wrestling.
Right.
And now you got wrestling, you got actors out there in the ring too. Are you kidding me? Aren't
Liberace.
we exposing the business? Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. But the fans didn't care. They just wanted to be entertained.
Well,
And
they got it.
Piper went out there and kept it as real as he could.
They damn sure got entertained. Vince bet the farm and won big time with WrestleMania.
If he had not won, that was the end of it.
Right.
That's what I heard.
It would have all been gone. I've heard the same thing.
I heard that if that had not went well, it was the end of the road. No more WWF because he bet it all. Took balls to do that.
Man, you think about the ripples that would have created through wrestling, the territories, and nothing would have been the same as it is now if WrestleMania 1 hadn't worked.
Absolutely not.
Well, Jake, you arrive in March of 1986, but for right now, let me just ask, what were your first interactions like with Hulk Hogan?
Very short. Hello, that was about it. He had his own locker room, and I wasn't one to intrude on their space. And I've just never been one to kiss ass.
Right.
And he had a line of people around him kissing his ass, brother. I'm not going to say any names because that's not my place to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But we all know. And hell, you couldn't even get close to him because these guys were blocking it all, man, because they didn't want nobody to get in with Hulkster. Hey, that's the Hulkster. I got it. I got this. And excuse me, brother. Damn, you protect him more than you protect your woman. It's true, man.
These are other wrestlers trying to keep.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, my God. There's about 4 or 5 of them, man. To this day, he still got them.
Well, I'm sure I could guess those guys. I'm sure I could guess 1 or 2 names, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
Not, as you said, not our place.
What for?
Right. Well, so, obviously he's got this kind of following around there, and he's got this really close-knit relationship with Vince because he's the cash cow. But I've heard it said a lot that he had this really kind of up and down relationship with Vince.
On again, off again, yeah.
Did you ever see any of that or hear any stories?
No, the only thing I heard was when Hulkster bought the name. When he bought the name from, was it Marvel Comics?
Yes.
When he bought the name behind Vince's back, that was a good blow up there. Because Vince was going to buy it, but Hogan went in there first and got it.
Wow.
That was huge. That was huge. Do you hear that? Huge. Huge. Beyond big. Way beyond big.
Man, it's you always hear about how he's such a politician behind the scenes, the ultimate kind of businessman, positions himself
smart.
well. You got to give him that.
Smart, man. You got to give him that, brother. I have no bitches and moans about Hulkster doing what he did. Hell, if I'd have had the opportunity, I'd have probably done some of the stuff he did. But I would like to think that I would have wrestled more, But that's just what Vince wanted what the Hulkster did. If he hadn't, it would have been changed. Trust me.
Yep.
When I tell you that, if Vince was not happy with the match, he would damn sure tell you. and it didn't matter who it was, you know. So Hoaxer was doing exactly what Vince wanted, man. He was setting them up and mowing them down, one after the same damn finish. You
Yep.
know, the big foot. My God, that's such a vicious move.
That does make me wonder, Jake, with you being such like a technician in the ring,
Yeah,
when you're seeing this, and there's this guy, I mean, obviously he's got this irreplaceable look, but you're seeing what he
yeah,
does in the ring.
yeah.
Is there resentment where you're like, what the fuck with this guy? You know, I'm the one who's got the
Sure
move
was.
set.
Sure there was. You know, I hate to admit that, but yeah, there was resentment. There was also jealousy. You know, I wanted to be a part of it, man. And I made the mistake when we first wrestled not to do the same old shit. You know, not to pattern my match with Hulkster the way he patterned every match.
Mm-hmm.
I went out there and tried to do some wrestling and tried to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and that's not what they wanted. It's not what they wanted. The fans, on the other hand, were cheering me, which was a death mark right there.
Right.
I
You're
mean,
giving him something new.
well, something they really believed
Yeah.
in. The one thing about Jake Roberts was is that he went out there and he freaking wrestled, man. And he didn't go out there and clown around
Mm-hmm.
and do funny high spots. No, he went out there and he tried to take your damn head off. You know, whether it was with a short arm clothesline or anything I did was very solid and very tight. Not to the point of hurting anybody, but they damn sure knew I was there.
All right, guys, we're going to take a break to talk about my bookie and how they're taking a really, really exciting weekend and making it even more exciting. You know, this weekend, of course, WWE is doing SummerSlam, and my bookie has got odds on every match. You know, Cody Rhodes has got the crowd, the momentum, and the main event, but something about this street match with Cena feels a little bit different. A street fight could get ugly in ways we never expected, and Cody might finally snap. At my bookie, that's what you bet on. Not just who wins, but how it happens. The moment, the chaos. And with SummerSlam finally here, they're giving you every tool to hit. Other books give you odds. My bookie gives you the edge. Daily bet boosts, extra plays for just wagering, and unlimited cash when your friends sign up. Oh, and if you didn't know, you can legit use your own referral code to claim unlimited bonuses. To get started, hit up mybookie.ag and use our promo code SNAKE and cash in with a bonus on your first deposit. Drop in $100, get $50 added for free. Go bigger, and MyBookie throws in even more. Man, I know if you're like me, you're fired up about this weekend and all of the possibilities, but just think of all the added possibilities with MyBookie. I mean, matches that maybe you otherwise didn't care about, all of a sudden the stakes are raised because you got some money riding on it. MyBookie makes SummerSlam edge of your seat watching even more than it already is. And if you're not in on this, brother, you better jump on the train. SummerSlam is built for drama. MyBookie is built for getting paid. Again, hit up mybookie.ag and use our promo code SNAKE and cash in with a bonus on your first deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Well, and to your point, that believability that you had, it kind of leads us to the meat of why we're here. In that, you know, through 1986, you establish yourself as this very
Yeah,
legitimate, dangerous
badass.
heel. Yeah, a dangerous heel, somebody who's kind of like evil incarnate almost. And you establish yourself in that way. It's your program with Steamboat, with of course the famous DDT on the concrete, which we will for sure have an episode about.
Yeah,
Your cerebral promo style, these dark looks you get on your face, Damien, all of this stuff established you in fans' minds as this evil guy. Where on the other
as a
side,
sicko.
right? Where on the other side, you've got Hulk Hogan, who's this say your prayers, eat your vitamins, this ultimate good guy. So a feud between the two of you felt like a natural fit. Did you feel that way as you were starting to gain momentum? Like, oh, okay, I'm headed for the main event.
Well, I knew I was headed to a main event, but I was concerned with the fan reaction. The fans were cheering me. You know, they loved what I was doing. The kids dug the fact that I'd get the steak out and put it on people because they would sit there and watch their mama and daddy cringe and be, just, oh my God, that horrible snake. Kids love seeing their parents do that
Mm-hmm.
because they would love to do it to their parents. Are you kidding me? That was the issue. That damn snake.
So the snake was starting to get you over with the kids, which in turn was making you not necessarily a great fit for
Right.
Hulk. I
Right.
got it. So in the meantime, you're just out there trying to put out the best work you can, and
Absolutely.
were you thinking like, okay, as you're getting these reactions, are you like, all right, well maybe I am headed toward being a baby face?
Well, I didn't think I was. I thought that when we finally shot something with Hulk, I would be able to get myself over as a established heel
Mm-hmm.
because he, after all, was the goose. The goose wasn't loose. You had to go to the goose and take your ass whipping and move on down the road, which I was more than willing to do. But when we did the snake pit in, I believe it was Tucson.
Yep.
Yeah, Tucson. When we did that there, I dropped him with the DDT, not on concrete, but it might as well have been. It was on a stage. It was very solid, and he, of course, it cut him, busted him open.
We've actually got a rare photo of Hulk where he's got the bandage over his eye. It's
Yeah,
it's a photo that I was sent recently. Not a lot of people have seen this.
no, that's what it did to him.
So
And
you cracked him wide open.
I told Vince, I said, Vince, you see what I did to Steamboat? I don't want to hurt Hulk. Oh, he'll be all right. No, Vince, he won't. And I was right. He wasn't.
I wonder what
But
makes him think he'd be okay.
I don't know, man. I think he looked at Hogan like a tank. You
Hmm.
know, impossible to stop, impossible to do anything with because of his size and his stature. But there are things that can hurt you in wrestling, and one of them's the damn DDT, man. And I dropped him, and I went to the back, and Vince is like, "Stay right here by the curtain." He says, "You know what's going to happen next?" I'm like, "What, Vince?" I'm blown up, of course. And he's like, "Here in about 30 seconds, you're going to start chanting, Hulkster, 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 Hulkster." And Hulk's going to come to his feet, beat his chest, rip his shirt off, and then go looking for you. And from that point on, Jake, you'll be wrestling Hulk every night. I'm like, oh my God, this is it, man. It's finally happening. Oh my God, I'm getting the big push. But we sit there for 30 seconds, and then we were there for about a minute. And when Hulk did come up and beat his chest, some people were chanting DDT,
Oh no.
DDT. And Vince looked at me and he goes, "You're screwed," which I didn't understand at the time. I'm like, wait a minute. Why am I screwed? The fans want to see us go at each other. As long as the arena's full, isn't that what counts? Absolutely not. What counts is how the merchandise is going.
Hmm.
And that's where all the big money was. Now, who did they put most of their money on?
It was Hulk.
Hulk. Hey, Hulk had everything. And 10 times of it, 20 times, 30 times more than anybody else. It was all pushed on the Hulk. There wasn't no Jake Roberts shit.
You were a heel,
Not at the time.
right?
They hadn't started making that stuff yet. And I was doomed. And Vince told me I was screwed, and he was right, man. I wrestled Hulk twice. Wrestled him in Providence, Rhode Island. Set a record for that building that has not been broke yet.
Sold out.
And then we did another one in Montreal at the
Yep.
Forum, and that was huge. But the people were chanting DDT, DDT. And I didn't go out and wrestle Hulk like everybody else did. I went cerebral on him. And
Which do you think that got at
that was a
Hulk?
kiss of death. Yeah.
So
Yeah. It
Vince,
wasn't what Hulk wanted either.
did Vince like his type formula, or was it
No.
more Hulk wanted that formula?
Hulk's formula was the only one that mattered.
Mm.
And I should have been more in tune with that, but I thought I could show him my way, which I thought was better. Doesn't matter what I think. Just shut the fuck up and get in the car. That's all it is, brother.
Well, you said it. It was December 10th in Tucson, 1986.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on that anniversary. I do want to double back. The story is phenomenal, and it's something, as I said, fans are still curious about today. They're dying for WWE to release that footage. I don't suppose they ever will. But
No.
when Vince first comes to you with this idea that you're going to be working with Hulk, I
Right.
mean, what's going through your mind? Like, okay, this is it. I made it.
Oh man, he just told me at TV. He said, "You got Hulk out there. You guys are gonna do a little something."
You didn't know until day of.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a savvy veteran. You're a second generational guy by this
Yeah.
point. I mean, still though, it's here's this giant opportunity in the hottest company in the world. I mean,
Yeah.
does your heart start beating out of your chest when you get this news, or how are you feeling?
No, I felt like I was being choked. I felt like I was being smothered, and that's anxiety.
Right.
But I was jacked, man. To when we did it, we went out and did three snake pits, and on the third one, I got him. Threw powder in his face and then DDT'd him on the set, and busted him open. And went back to the back and waited, and the fans rewarded me with DDT. Fans, I love the shit out of it. But you know how many millions of dollars you guys cost me? Oh my God. Probably $10 million down the drain.
Oof. I mean, between the house shows, pay-per-view, etc., could have been a lot. Let's talk about Hulk Hogan's perspective. We got yours, and Hulk did an interview with Sky News Radio in 2013, and here is his take on the scrapped feud with you. There were several guys where there would be a feel in the ring, or you could tell right away. That's how everything worked with me. I had to hear it and feel it with the instinct thing. I got into a situation with Jake the Snake where he had his snake pit. It was an interview show. We did something there, which was the beginning of a major storyline for Jake and myself. We went to Providence and we worked one night, and that was pretty much it. It was like we were at a funeral. I just realized that something wasn't clicking, and we kind of moved on and moved past it. I don't know what it was. There was a Hulk Hogan style at the time that was really easy, and there were several trains of thought with probably about 6 or 7 ways to go to make things perfect. For some reason, Jake and I did not fit in any of those categories. I tried my best, he tried his best, but we just couldn't dance with each other. It wasn't right. I just didn't want to run this thing out for 6 months to a year when there were so many other people like the Macho Man and everybody else, and it was so red hot. It just didn't work. So, Jake, what's your immediate reaction to hearing that?
That really hurts. It really hurts, and it bothers me that he didn't have enough confidence in me to make it work. I think that if we had sat down and had a 10-minute conversation before we went out and wrestled, then everything could have been different. But we never had that. We didn't sit down and talk. We just went out there and did it.
Who do you put that on? Yourself, Hulk, Vince?
Both of us.
Yeah.
Both of us. I've heard that Hogan has said on other interviews that he wished the hell he had taken the time to work it out with me.
I've heard that too.
That we could have done a lot of business. But I wound up on the losing end of that one, brother, big time.
Well, it's there is a silver lining, which we're going to get into in a minute. But in the meantime, I did want to mention that there was a couple things that really stood out to me about what Hulk had to say here. Let me preface this by saying I was born in October 1986, so I was about 2 months old when this happened, and I have no inside knowledge as to anything. This is just me looking at it from an outsider's perspective. But a few things came off as peculiar to me. First was that Hulk doesn't actually mention being DDT'd by you. He just kind of brushed it off, and he said, you did something there. This has got to be an intentional omission, right?
Oh, sure. I'm sure it is. Pride's a funny thing, man.
Right.
It's okay.
Well, the other thing that really stuck out to me was that Hulk said that the crowd in Providence was like a funeral. We've actually got a clip from this very match, December 30th, 1986 against Hogan. I'll play it now. The audio is not great, but it does not sound like the crowd is dead to me. And why would they be? It was a sold out building. It was the ultimate good guy against the ultimate bad guy. And check out the end. Ken Resnick is going to reference the last tape of the DDT. The audio isn't great, but that crowd does not sound dead to me.
Well, you saw it for yourselves, obviously. Hulk Hogan stealing a page from Jake the Snake Roberts' bag of tricks. And after what happened earlier in the Snake Pit, I don't think anyone could really blame him. But the rematch is set regardless. Providence Civic Center, Thursday night, January the 29th. Hulk Hogan against Jake the Snake Roberts, the heavyweight title on the line. And Danny Davis is the man appointed referee.
I mean, he's a fucking cheater, Jake. He threw powder in your eyes.
Well, it's obvious. I don't know if that was cocaine or what,
but whatever it was.
Yeah, he got me.
It was not legal.
No, it wasn't.
What do you remember about the audience reaction? Because they sounded pretty lively.
They were there,
right?
But as far as what could have been, a lot of things could have been. Hell, I could have beat Hogan for the belt. That could have happened, but it didn't.
That's the outcome a lot of our listeners wanted here, and it was reflected in a lot of the questions that we were asked. Was like, Jake should have had a run with it during this time.
I think I should have too, but I didn't, and that's okay, man. That's okay.
Well, the last thing that stood out to me was that he said he didn't want to run this thing out for 6 months. Now, my impression was always that Vince heard the boos and just put the kibosh on the whole thing because, you don't want to put your top moneymaker in that position. But the way that Hogan is framing it here, it sounds a little bit more like it was his choice. Can you tell us, you don't have any inside knowledge on whose choice that was?
I don't. I know that he just wasn't happy with the match because I didn't do the same old shit. And I think if we had talked for 5 or 10 minutes before the match, all those things could have been covered,
right?
And there wouldn't have been any damn problems, and I'd have went out there and did the same old shit, because in hindsight that cost me a lot of damn money, and shame on me for not taking the easy way out.
So Vince essentially told you that you were screwed on the 10th.
Yeah.
But here you are in Providence on the 30th. You're wrestling him. So, I mean, over the course of those 20 days, are you like, okay, maybe I can convince Vince that he should go with this thing?
I was going out there and giving them the match that I thought was going to make me heel and make this thing work. And obviously, that's not the way everybody felt, and I know we got the 2 shots. I don't know why those still happened, but maybe they wanted to see, well, maybe if we go to a house show, it won't be like that, But it was. It was. They were chanting DDT from the beginning to the end.
Was there a lot
of bastards?
There's a silver lining, and we're almost there. What was your communication like with Hulk over the course of that 20 days? Did you talk to him at all?
None.
Well, so Hulk said that you guys worked one night, but as we know, that's not exactly true. You guys worked in Providence again on January 29th, where you took a clean loss, and you're up in Canada in February.
Right.
By the time you meet him again later in Providence, you have to know that this whole thing is just fucked, right?
I know it's dead. It's dead. Yeah.
Man, what a shame.
Oh man, it broke my heart, man. Are you kidding? That's like seeing the silver spoon and getting it right to your lips, and then it's taken away from you.
How was the reaction when you wrestled up in Canada?
Same.
All DDT chants?
Yeah, man.
Oh boy. Well,
you know how the French are.
They love the heels.
Yeah, they do.
Well, you weren't a heel for long. They turned you babyface in early '87.
Yeah.
And I've heard you say before that put you in a position where you're basically just getting guys ready for Hogan, right?
Yeah, that's what my job was. If they wanted Hogan, we were running 3 towns at the time, but 2 major ones.
Mm-hmm.
So you had your A town and your B town, both of them big cities. Hogan would be in one, and I'd be in the other. My job was to get beat by the guy I was wrestling, so the next time they had a show there, it would be him against Hogan.
Right.
The guy would have had a clean win against me, and he'd be with Hogan. Meanwhile, I would be in the other town doing the same thing again, getting beat by somebody. so I can get him ready for Hogan. I made more money flat on my back than anybody ever has. I'll tell you that.
I think a lot of people on paper would look at this and say like, oh, well, he went from being the guy who was going to wrestle Hogan to getting guys ready to wrestle Hogan.
Yeah.
Like he must have been pissed off. But no, like the reality here is that like now you're the number 2 guy, number 2 baby face in the company. You're probably making a small fortune. And as you said, you're like, okay, I'll look at the lights. Just pay me.
I was doing all right, man. And I didn't mind doing what I was doing. If that's what my job is, I'm going to do the very damn best I can.
Right.
And I took great pride in it, and I went out and worked hard every night. And Hogan used to tell me that he loved being in the same town as I was in, because if I was there, he knew that he could go on 4th and go home, and I would close the show. Nobody else could do that. Nobody else had enough going for him to do that.
To keep the audience up by the end of the show.
So Hogan loved it.
All right, guys, we have got to hit the timeout button so that we can talk about a sponsor that I know all of the men listening to this podcast love. Of course, I am talking about Blue Chew. Man, let me tell you, Blue Chew is not just a tablet. This is a straight up cheat code for your crotch. You want to get stronger, harder, longer lasting erections, brother, this is it. It's like somebody gave your wiener a pep talk down there because your guy is ready to go. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. So look, don't lie about it. We've all been there, guys. You're ready to go. Your partner's ready to go. You look down and your little pal there is just staring at the carpet. Like, what are you doing, man? Come on, dude. Give me a break. Get up here. Let's go. We got work to do. And it won't listen. We've all been there. Well, Blue Chew is the solution. We're going to get that thing so hard you could go hunting with it. You are going to love Blue Chew just like I do. And let me say, your partner is going to love it too. This isn't just about performance. This is about a legacy, or third legacy, if you will. Give her group chat something to talk about, man. We all know that those girls are in their group chats and everything that happens is being discussed, whether you like it or not. Why don't you give them something good to talk about? Nothing makes you more of a legend than a little bit of Blue Chew. Discover your options at bluechew.com. And look, we've got a special deal for our listeners. We're giving out boners for free, man. As always, you can get your first month of Blue Chew free when you use our promo code SNAKE. That's SNAKE, SNAKE. Pretty appropriate for Blue Chew, if you ask me. All you got to do is use that promo code at checkout and pay $5 for shipping. That's it. Free boners sent straight to your house. I mean, come on, man. You got to at least give this thing a try. It's free. If you haven't tried it, you have no idea what you're missing out on. This could seriously be the best sex you have ever had in your entire life, and you're just letting it breeze right past you. Why? Because you don't want to pay the $5 shipping? Give me a break. Come on, give this a shot. Join Blue Chew's mission to upgrade humanity one thrust at a time. Let them know that we sent you. Head over to bluechew.com for details and safety information. Whenever you check out, make sure that you use our promo code SNAKE, and that's it. Just $5 shipping. And before we go, of course, I want to give a big thanks to Blue Chew for sponsoring the Snake Pit. Well, we're at the silver lining part, Jake, and that's it. This babyface turn opens up a world of merchandising opportunities and stuff from a PR standpoint.
Yeah.
So we hear all the time about the money that people were making off of merch back in those days.
Yeah.
There was one where somebody said that the Iron Sheik made $80,000 in a quarter off of his action figures.
That's back when they were paying guys for
it. Right.
Well, Vince did a smart thing, you know. Used to, you got paid per toy. But Vince, being the man that he is, realized, here's what I got to do. I'm going to charge the company less per toy, but for that little WWF logo, they're going to pay through the fucking nose for it.
Oh,
so he dropped the prices from, say, $1 a figure to 20 cents a figure.
Oh, no.
And of course, we got the 20 cents.
That is brutal.
It is brutal, man.
Well, even so, it's, as I'm growing up as a kid, I see like your little Hasbro figures, the LJN. So there's all these toys, T-shirts, all that stuff. Do you think that this babyface turn and the subsequent merchandise helped you to recoup some of that lost money?
Not much of it.
You
I
think
mean,
that a year or 6 months working shows with Hogan could have netted you more overall?
oh my God, yeah. Oh my God. Are you kidding?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing Vince did. If you wrestled Hogan, you got paid. I mean, big. You'd have some $5,000 paydays.
And then I suppose you could have had your cake and eaten it too, but with a babyface turn later down the road.
Yeah. Well, that babyface term was fine and dandy. I mean, we did wind up wrestling in a tag team one time.
Yourself and Hulk.
Yeah, myself and Hulk and Demolition.
That's right. Survivor Series 1989.
Right. But being Jake, Vince came to me and told me the idea. The idea was to get a bigger snake. So whenever they played our ring music, Hogan could hold the head, I could be second, and Demolition would be third and fourth. And we would all carry the snake to the ring. Right?
Right.
My mind said, Jake, do not let this happen. Because if these guys are holding the snake, why can't anybody else hold it? Because I never let anybody hold it. Everybody was afraid of the snake. But now all of a sudden, these guys are going to be carrying it to the ring like it's no big deal. So me and my evil thinking got a hold of the snake handler, who I was very tight with, and said, dude, we got a problem. And then I told him what the deal was, and he was furious. He was furious. Nobody's going to touch the snake but you. Nobody. Okay, we got to figure out something, man. What can we do? Well, I said, can we get a bigger snake, one that's so fucking big that they won't want nothing to do with it? Oh, yeah, I've got the perfect one. No problem. So we go to the building that night, and, before a pay-per-view, they check the time for everything. They want to time how long it takes you to get from the back to the ring, So they play our ring music, and we'd go to the ring. And they'd mark that down. That's how long it took. So Vince tells me, hey, Jake, where's the snake at? I said, well, I've seen the guy, but I haven't seen the snake yet. And that was the truth. So I found the guy, and I said, where's the snake at? And he points at this humongous crate that is sitting on the side. I'm talking 5 feet tall, 5 feet wide.
That's a big snake in there.
Wooden crate, reinforced. And so Vince says, well, get it out so we can do it. He started getting the top off of it, and all of a sudden the top exploded, and that snake came out, and his head was this big around. Oh my God. This snake was 27 feet long, weighed 350 pounds.
Oh my God.
It could have swallowed me. The handler grabbed the snake in a headlock, and the snake picked him up and slammed him on the concrete. And that's when Hogan and everybody else is running for their fucking lives, including Vince. Put that fucking thing away. I'm like, I'm trying. Jesus Christ, man. And meanwhile, the snake decides to fucking shit. And it shits, and it's the foulest smelling shit. Oh my God, brother. It was horrible. They had to mop all that shit up, and it just never went away. If a snake shits on you, it doesn't go away, man. It's just going to smell for, days.
Oh, God.
But that was the end of us carrying that snake to the ring.
Well, you got what you wanted. They didn't want to.
I did. Yes, I did.
So I'm in shock that he was able to get you a snake that big in the first place.
God.
My goodness.
This guy could do anything.
That's incredible. Are you still in contact with the guy?
No, I haven't. The last time I talked to him was when the hurricane had devastated Miami years ago, and I called him because he was down there working in a alligator farm and snake farm, and his job was to, of course, keep an eye on all the animals, but also to milk the poisonous snakes and sell that to drug companies.
Mm.
And they had everything. They had all the poisonous snakes you can think of, from rattlesnakes, different types of rattlesnakes, to vipers, to cobras, to everything. And When that hurricane hit, it flattened that whole thing. And I called Albert, and I said, man, are you all right? He goes, am I all right? He goes, I'm having the best time of my life. I'm like, how can you be having the best time of your life? I get to go look for all those things. That's fun? Oh, yeah, I love doing it. So it's fun digging through hurricane wreckage and looking for poisonous snakes. That's what you like for fun. Yeah.
They don't make a lot of guys like that, Jake.
No, he was strange, brother. He was real strange.
Well,
too strange.
So yeah, you were a baby face. You worked with Hulk at Survivor Series. The next time you'd work with Hulk is in early '92. Some tag team situations. You teamed up with your old pal John Nord in Amarillo against him and Savage. You and Taker against Hogan and Savage. And that would actually it would be February 10th, '92. That would mark the final time that you'd work in the ring with Hulk. And not long after, Jake, you're gone, and then about a year later, Hulk is gone. You know, he was such an infallible force in that company for so many years. When you hear that he's gone, what's your reaction?
I was definitely blown away.
Right.
Blown completely away. I don't know how in the hell he walked away from the package that he had. You know, maybe the package wasn't close to what he wanted anymore after the Warrior took the title. I know that Vince always paid whoever had the title got paid. That's for sure. And if you were wrestling that guy, you got paid. Other than that, man, the money was kind of thin. So maybe that's what happened. Maybe the money got so thin that Hulkster said, I can do better than this. And of course, I'm sure a lot of it had to do with WCW just making him a deal that he just couldn't say no to.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know how that works. People get offered the whole kit and caboodle, man.
So rumor has it they made him a very attractive offer, especially with some of the shared revenue on pay-per-views. He pops up there in '94. Did you see any of this stuff that he was doing then? Were you watching it all?
No, I wasn't watching much of it at all.
Well, you weren't missing much. It was a pretty lackluster run, and they were doing some really weird shit. I love Kevin Sullivan as a booker. I think he's a genius of a guy. Yeah. But, yeah, some of the stuff they were doing was really bizarre. But, Jake, by '96, you're back in the WWF, and the wrestling world has changed down in Atlanta because Hogan turns heel with the NWO. Yeah. I'm guessing you were a little bit too busy doing your own thing to watch.
Yeah, I was, man.
But what did you think when you heard about him turning heel?
I loved it. And I'm sure he loved it, man. There's nothing worse, man, than having to be a babyface. Oh my God, I hate it. As a babyface, you're shackled as to what you can do because the fans expect certain things. You know, your trademark moves have to be done every night. You know, like Hogan with the big foot, he didn't like doing it, but he had to do it because that was part of his shtick. You know,
right.
And your expectations, man. You got to kiss babies. You got to be nice to people. Yada, yada, yada. You got to do things the good guy way. Whereas as a heel, that opens the door to do any damn thing you want, man. You can change yourself in any way you want to. You know, and I'm sure Hogan loved this time of his career. I'm sure he was so into this, finally getting able to go out there and give the people a hard time. Oh my God, are you serious? Of course he loved it.
Man, what a resurgence. 43 years old, and now all of a sudden he's completely transforming this character that he's just gone all over the world with. Now, I do want to ask too, you know, back around like WrestleMania 6 with the whole Warrior thing, Hogan says that he pitched Vince the idea of turning heel following the loss to Warrior and actually becoming Hollywood Hogan then. I mean, back in those days, do you think it could have worked him in the WWF as a heel?
It would have been hard. Harder than it was to do it down south. Once he stepped away from the WWE, he's free. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, free at last, you know, that type of thing. And I'm sure he was ready to turn heel and throw all that shit down the toilet and just be himself and go out and have fun again. Because it gets old doing the same shtick every night, man. Come on, think about it. Same damn crap every night, pointing at the people and come up, Jesus Christ.
Man, all over the country for like a decade.
All over the world, not
Oh,
just the
that's right.
country,
Yeah.
man.
My God.
Jesus, Japan was so hot for him, man. Europe was so hot for him.
Well, so at this time, you're in the WWF, as I mentioned, and you're seeing this happening. And in the meantime, the WWF is really kind of struggling. Was there any thought in your mind, like, okay, maybe if things don't work out here, maybe I could go back to WCW?
No, I could not go back to WCW.
There was a lawsuit or something, right?
Yeah. I won the lawsuit, but should have listened to my lawyer. He said that I should have taken the money that I had coming to me and more, pain and suffering and yada, 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 and have a job written into the contract. But at the time, I was so full of shit and so high, I didn't realize what I was doing. In those days, brother, I was a mess.
Yeah, it's I know that you were having a rough time during that era, and
We'd separated. My wife and I had separated, and I went off the deep end, man.
So the business was the last thing from your mind, I'm sure. Even
I didn't care about anything other than getting high. When I was high, I could forget about everything.
It is fun to think about you as a member of the NWO and feuding with your buddy DDP or Crow Sting or the Horseman or something. It's a real what if, I think, for a lot of wrestling fans.
Oh yeah, sure it is, man. But sometimes you don't get what you want, man.
That's it, brother. Well, we are very close to the finish line here. I just want to ask real quick, when he pops back up in the WWF in 2002, I know that you were doing your own thing at that time, but did you hear about any of the stuff that he was doing with The Rock or Triple H?
Yeah, I heard about it. I realized, he's going up there and he's doing the smart thing. He's going up there and getting all the crumbs off the table, man, because there was still something for him to do. Get The Rock over, get Triple H over, and pass the baton.
Man, he got one more run on top with the undisputed title, which not a lot of people get to have. I mean, at the time, he's 48. Were you shocked to hear like Vince is going with this older guy? Vince has always been like the I want to go young guy.
Yeah, but there's some things you can't deny, man. And Hogan was one. When he went back up there and they put the title back on him, Christ, man, are you serious?
Pretty wild.
That was a mistake.
I would say so too, especially with a bunch of young emerging stars there. And eventually, Brock Lesnar wound up grabbing that. All right, Jake, let's jump into some fan questions and then we'll get out of here. Adam Arpin on Ad Free Shows has a really fun hypothetical. He says, if you had gone back to WCW in 97, this is kind of close to what I was asking. Instead of ECW, creatively, do you think you would have been in the NWO or more have an opportunity to face Hogan finally?
I think maybe I would have had an opportunity to face Hogan as a babyface. No way they could turn me heel. Everybody tried.
That's going to be the issue. Coming in the door, everybody's going to be excited to see you, so you'd almost have to be a babyface.
Yeah.
Instagram, a wrestling historian on Twitter asks, if the feud hadn't been canceled, was it leading to a WWF title shot on Saturday night's main event? Did you have the inside knowledge on where it was going?
No, I did not. No, I'm sure if had it ran its course, I would have been on everything with Hogan for 4 or 5 months every night. So again, what if?
That was my thought too, is like, man, if you think about it, a 6-month program, we're starting in December, could have made it all the way to WrestleMania.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably culminated in WrestleMania.
Yep. Chip Maxley on Twitter.
Not a bad place to do it.
That would have been all right. Probably a decent payoff too.
Yes, sir.
Chip Maxley on Twitter asks, do you think there could have been something between something that you could have done to Hulk that would have gotten the people to hate you, or was it just snake bit, pun intended, from the beginning?
Yeah, I think something could have been done. I think they could have brought something in there and slapping Elizabeth was one thing, but there's always something else that could have been done. Whether it would have been bringing his kid in and getting his kid involved or something personal, It would have to be something very personal.
Right.
You know, maybe do something where I do something with the snake, and then the snake is banned, and I retaliate by slapping one of his family members or DDTing his kid. Something.
That would do it.
That would do
DDT on the kid would definitely do it.
Especially if it was the daughter.
Wow. That is a wild thought.
That would have been awesome. The DDT on both at the same time.
Oh my God. And like Hogan's tied up in the ropes or something.
Right.
He can't do it. Man, that would have been wild.
That would have been it.
All right, last question for the week, then we'll take care of a little business. Jake, how do you feel? Oh, I'm sorry, this is from Johnny Gringo 7 on Twitter. How do you feel about Hogan personally? We kind of covered that a little bit, but let me ask a similar question. Jake, how do you feel